So did we trap the bears again? Let's find out here. What a volatile day in the markets, and I can't wait for the comments on this video because you guys are borderline losing your minds at this point in my comment section, which is quite entertaining. But let's get into it here today. It is April 2nd. Terrific tariff Trump Tuesday. We're just going to call it Tuesday. It's Wednesday, but it's Tuesday now. So we need that alliteration. Anyway, the market's here today with a good gap down into this same area that we've been gapping, well, we gapped down into yesterday, essentially. And that's 3 in a row. So that's 3 days of gap downs that were bought with higher lows each time. So the bulls starting to get some more control back here. It's starting to feel like that. Now we do have Trump coming on in about 10 minutes. So who knows what he's going to say. He could throw a curveball here, but we are seeing some hedges fly off early. That's usually a sign that there's, the market's kind of made its mind up. Nonetheless, this area here, for me, I'll just keep it really simple. You guys know this is the bull bear line here, that yellow trend line around 57.25. We break above that with conviction. That, we have a concrete low in place here. That doesn't mean it can't come down in a few weeks and make a new low, but I think that would be a huge step here, especially when you consider, just looking at the low to the high today. I mean, you just retraced about 50% of it. That's pretty bullish. I was really looking for that 618 here for a retest, and you can see it right around 560. Here's a good tip too if you do trade gamma, but usually. Man, this 560 did not shrink all day, but usually even when you rocket away from price, if that doesn't shrink, price tends to want to go back there and get into that area. And now 568 coming in, and that was there all day as well. But we did essentially round trip it. We got pretty close, didn't quite get there. We'll see if we try to pump it in the after hours. Again, options trade for another 15 minutes. I think being long premium here is basically pissing away money, the way IVs are, and with Trump, I mean, he could say anything after the bell, but nonetheless, you've got that improvement here, improved structure. So we'll be watching, and again, I can't wait for the comments to tell me I'm a dumb bull, because I was called a dumb bear yesterday. So you guys got to get consistent with your insults. But yeah, right in this area here, 57.25 to 30. If that can clear and hold above, I think you have a much more tradable bottom here. And they did, again, to kind of go back, they did sweep this low here. Nice divergence on the McClellan, the RSI. And it's also visible on the weekly, even the McClellan here too. So good moves there off the lows. And one of the things that we talked about yesterday, I said for positive for bulls, if we just look at IBIT, just to be lazy. Notice how Bitcoin didn't pull back at all yesterday. Just kind of flagged versus the spiders, which had a very choppy session. Dollar yen also, held up well during yesterday's session, and to this morning it was very strong, and it's continuing to hold that neckline, and it's got a bull inside bar here, and it's starting to build a nice base now. IWM also led pretty nicely today, and the Qs, QQQ up 89 basis points here versus the spiders up 80. So Qs leading. Russell leading, those are usually positives. And again, 3 gap downs, 3 higher lows. So this market's volatile here. We've had a lot of swings. It's definitely a day trader's market. We are coming up a little bit short of price targets, a little bit intraday. But, you expect that when you have no depth of book on ES. So very thin. But in any case, last positive here for bulls, we've talked about this. Also is the transports, now working on a daily higher low and higher high. So if you know your Dow theory, you know what that means. And again, right now, ES with the lower low, so that could be forecasting something. But bears would come in the after hours. Maybe we round trip to 568, and then push back. We get an algo push back to 560. I mean, this is basically, I'm treating this kind of like an FOMC here. I'm into cash right now. As far as the day trades are concerned. But yeah, that's the range here, and neither of those have gone away. I mean, they're still sitting there. Yeah, I'd say 568 is your likely cap for now. And in the after hours, 560 still sitting there. SPX, 5,700, right? And then you got 5,620 is where 560 is for that. QQQ 480 is going to be some resistance too. There's a lot of gamma exposure up there too. So that's a big area, and you can see that was obviously the high from last Friday, 480.52. So through that, you could get a nice squeeze here. And again, very good sweep of the low. It's up to bulls to follow through. We'll see if tomorrow ends up being a retrace day. I think it's going to be a mess tomorrow, but we'll see. Maybe it's a gap and go, maybe not. It's been a wild tape here. IWM here again, look at the gap down. Look how deep. A gap below yesterday's low, essentially. And then all the way back up to green, closing right on the 20 moving average, or right just off the 20 MA. Dow trying to reclaim the 200. And there that is, only up 58 basis points. So you want to see the Dow lagging, and that's the case. I would prefer the semis to be up like 3%. If that was the case, I'd be a lot more bullish. But they're only up inside of 1%. And again, the Q's up basically about the same amount as they are. You want to see the semis outperform everything. There's the closing bell. But IGV here, up 1.3. Again, love this weekly level. Very nice, and it's getting defended as expected. Transports we mentioned, good day there. Didn't quite get the higher high. It doesn't look. Did we get it? Yeah, 15.05. Yeah, so we just technically got a higher high on the transports. So you technically have higher lows and higher highs here now on the daily. So good liquidity grab there. Boom. A good move here for bulls. Interest rates today did climb, but you can see on the 2-year here, coming down, pattern's not broken, and we're seeing a lot of, at least I am, head and shoulders talk on the 10-year. So yeah, you do have it, it's valid. It is not triggered yet though. So that leads me to believe if it does trigger, it's going to be after some sort of a bounce and then a rollover, because I just keep seeing this chart everywhere. So it's probably, I'm assuming a lot of people are trying to buy TLT here. So I would think this needs some pattern here, or needs to fill out that range a little bit more. But I do think bonds catch a bit into the summer, so I think it can play out. If it does play out, it's basically going to go back to the lows here, which I think would be another, to me personally, would be like a false low. I think you really want to short bonds there. Let me just do this for fun. Yeah, so I mean that could play out into that area, so we'll keep an eye on that. Yields getting a bit here. Good jobs number this morning too from ADP, and that could be, I mean, that definitely doesn't hurt the market. But XHB up nicely again, holding that weekly support. Got to close above 98.85. Missed it by 3 pennies. Let me take a look at ITB. Yeah, I didn't quite get there. VNQ up 55 cents. That's been in a tight range. We get volatility there soon. Banks have still been strong. That's been a feather in the bull's cap for a long time. KRE here, gap down and closing up 80 cents. So, dip and flip, I like to call it. Seeing that across the board. XPD back above the 20 DMA. But still kind of a choppy pattern here. So we just backed off ever so slightly into the close. And Trump should be on any second now. I'm not going to cover that right now. I would just expect volatility. Oil here up 60 cents, still hammering on 72. There's some supply here, so it's going to need to take some time. Maybe the 20 MA catching up can get it through that. XLE here up 8 cents. Again, XLK and QQQ, even SMH, right, up more than XLE. So that's usually good for the market here. XOP of $1.30, OIH up 21 cents. So energy kind of taking a little bit of a back seat. CCJ and uranium plays getting a small bounce here, but not really seeing the greatest move here off that major weekly support at the moment. Nat gas still in a tight range. That is tightening up on the weekly for a big move. Dollar index down 40 basis points, but look at the dollar yen. So euro was up, dollar down, yen down. That's usually good for risk, and that's probably why we rallied. It keeps slicing this head and shoulder, inverse head and shoulder neckline, but it's not staying below it. And you still have, you got a daily inside bar here, so it's technically still valid. So we'll see if that, see if it goes tomorrow. Gold here, not quite to my sell area, but just be aware, a lot of people are obsessed with selling it, so it might go through that. But I tell you right now, there's a lot of dealer interest, a lot at 290. I think that's a short-term cap on GLD. Is that a long-term top? I mean, probably not, but might be medium-term. Gold tends to top around this time of the year. Silver does too, but usually after. So no changes here. In silver, platinum pulling back, palladium pulling back, nothing doing there. Copper's still starting to, this is starting to lose some momentum now. So when you pull back after a big move, you want that 20 moving average to give you juice, like quickly. Yeah, it looks like it's starting to lose that. So, I mean, it went up to a big level, a double top, pretty much picture perfect. But if this can catch its footing here, it might have one more peak. A lot of the time when you go into a double top, they'll try to get them one more time. But nonetheless, it's pulling back off the highs where, we kind of figured it would. Anyway, Bitcoin, again, held up and still hasn't made a new low with the market. So it made the low early. A lot of the time, Bitcoin leads the market by a little bit too. So maybe, and I'm kind of in the camp here that even if we do, just so everybody's aware, if you're still watching and you don't think I'm a dumb bull or a dumb bear, just in case, I'm kind of in the camp here that will probably be choppy the next couple of weeks. We may make a new low. Starting to think the case of that would be a more nominal case, like a slight lower low, or it could just be a higher low. But for me, it's a little bit more about time than it is about price here for the markets. But right now, Bitcoin had a pretty good day, and it's led the last 2 days, and that kind of was a signal there. We talked about that even yesterday too. All the alts were up, even with the market kind of soft. Let's take a look at the futures here. We're just hanging around. So I'm assuming Trump's on right now. And yeah. Right up here, big resistance. I don't think we're going to get through it immediately. But we could. You never know. But today was really the first day, to me, that felt like shorts were actually on their heels a little bit. It did not feel like a squeeze, like just a typical short covering rally. It felt like we were squeezing. Look at the action intraday. It was very forceful. And the fact that we put in a higher low after the 50% fib, I feel like a week or two ago, this would have just melted right back down to 56.20. And we didn't see that. So you guys know the line in the sand there now. And we'll see what happens tomorrow. So anyways, you guys take care. Again, have a good rest of your night. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com. I will see you guys all tomorrow.